This is Joe Biden, the resident of the United States. Now, if you've watched Joe Biden's public appearances over the last 4 years, and why would you? You'll have seen Joe Biden mangle everyone's names or titles or both. Here's some examples of the resident calling out two members of Congress.
Pramila Jayapal. Pamela Jayapal. Where is she? There you are. Good to see you. Patty Murphy. Eliza Slotkin. And Laura Underwood. Where's Laura? There she is, right there, right in front. Good to see you, Laura. And Rashid Tlaib. Where's Rashid? I tell you what, Rashid. Look, healthcare is part of Abigail, Congresswoman, or your Congresswoman's background. And Jake, I should say, Auchincloss, Congressman Auchincloss, where is she? There you go, Jake. And I want to thank Congresswoman Kilmer.
That ain't no woman. It's a man.
I started off when I had the list. I said, give me the... And I started off, I said, Sherry Boutros. I said, wait, there's a lot of people aren't here. Don't do it. Anyway, but the people who are here are, John Hickenlooper, Sherry Boutros, Dan Kildee, and John Gerardi for leading this effort. Thanks, John. I really mean it. Senator Casey and Senator Lamb and other members of your delegation here, the Democrats. Tony Balderson for the work in the House. Representative Boyle. And John Katko. I, along with Diane Fine, is the guy that passed the first assault weapons ban. Jim, Minority Whip, thank you for your friendship and support. I join with Minority Leader Jeffers. And I mean this sincerely. My dad used to say, everyone is entitled to be treated with dignity and respect. The Congressional Black Caucus embodies all those values. And also Paul Tanko, another Irishman. I'm only kidding, obviously, but I just want you to know that, at any rate. Natalie Bergone. Natalie, where's Nanette? Where's Nanette? There you are. Sorry, Nanette. I didn't see you back there. And Ted Lieu and Ned Barragan. Ted, there you are. And Gabby Gifford, a great friend, is here as well. And Representative Ed Case. And Joe Kukuna. And the two members of the New Jersey Congressional Delegation, Rob Menendez and Don Goldman. I also want to acknowledge the gentle lady from Georgia, Lucy Macbeth. You have the guy who heads up the campaign committee for elect Republican senators, a guy named Tim Scott, Florida. Rick Scott, Wisconsin. Portman is a good man. Portman is a congressman from this area. I also want to thank Senators Tester and Jerry Morgan. Where's Doug? Congressman. He's around here somewhere. Oh, there you are. Doug, thanks for the passport into town. Doug knows. Look, here's the deal. Nobody's been a greater fight for women's rights in the Congress than Senator Kristen Gillibrand. God love her. Brian Shantz, our senator. Senator Mazie, by the way, Mazie, I told my granddaughter, whose name is Mazie as well, she said, that's why I like her. Anyway.
But her name is Mazie as well.
And then there's Congresswoman and the star of Smile 3, Mary Gay Scanlon.
Mary Kay Scanlon. Mary Gay Scanlon has been a great friend as well. Mary Kay Scanlon. I want to also thank Representative Mary Kay Scanlon, who fights so hard for this district. Labor Day, and Mary Kay Scanlon as well. And Mary Gay Scanlon, where are you? I keep telling Mary Kay, I'm from Scranton. It turns out there's a lot of Scanlons in the Biden family and the Finnegan family. I don't want to hurt her reputation, but we may be related for all we know.
Well, that's insulting. Anyway, in the rare instance where a journalist would ask a Democrat politician about Joe Biden's mental and physical health, Democrats would always come to Joe Biden's defense.
The majority of Democrats think that President Biden's too old to run for re-election, and they say that he is in decline. Have you noticed any decline at all? I know that at one event he forgot your name. I believe he called you Jonah.
Jonah, and by the way, Jonah Hayes is, Jonah, where are you? There you are, Jonah, right in front of me. Stand up, Jonah. Jonah happens to be a teacher, happens to be the 2016 National Teacher of the Year.
Well, I don't think he forgot my name. He doesn't know me personally. I think he was reading the teleprompter and pronounced it wrong.
Gee, you think if President Trump innocently mispronounced her name at an event, that she would be as forgiving? Yeah, right. But instead of questioning Joe Biden's mental acuity, everyone just seemed to laugh it off.
And Earl, excuse me. I know. You can call me Biden. Joe Biden.
Next, let's take a look at Joe Biden mentioning members of his staff or political appointees. As a reminder, A, these are people that Joe Biden works with, and B, he's reading their names and titles off of a teleprompter.
I'm so proud to announce 21 awardees up on the screen here who will each receive between 25 million and 65 million jobs to turn their plans into action. As Secretary Mundo just said, and I guess I wasn't supposed to start this off, was I? Come to think of it. And I especially want to thank Joe Porcari. I think Joe's done one heck of a job. Linda Thomas Greenfield. And Ambassador Linda Thomas Greenfield, for Secretary of Health and Education Service, I nominated Javier Baccaria. Javier, Mr. Secretary, you can come up too. I've been watching on television. You've been really good. Now, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Secretary. I'm going to have you speak now. That's why I've asked the Secretary of Energy, Governor Granholm, Secretary Granholm, but you're my governor, former governor. She was the former governor of the state of Michigan. Michigan, wrong. She was a former state, she was a governor. Acting Labor Secretary Julie Hsu. Acting Labor Secretary Judy Hsu. Years ago, this is a little ad lib here, but years ago when John Kerry was the nominee for president of the Democratic Party, he talked with me about the possibility of being vice president. And he's running my operation now, and the former mayor of Louisiana. The reason I asked Mitch to do this, and I have to really listen to you, which I know Senator Cardona has been doing. Brenda Malloy, chair of our Council of Environmental Quality. The chair of the White House Council on Environmental Quality, Brenda Malloy. Where's Malloy? There she is, Brenda. My White House team, Jill, Doug, our first lady, and our first lady and our second husband. No, I'm joking. Secretary of Housing and Urban Affairs, great Marcia Fudge. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Marcia Fudge is here. Fudge is here. Secretary Buttigieg, my Coast Guard Millet. Lieutenant Commander Jana, now I'm going to embarrass her, Jana McCrone of the class of 2007.
I had been involved very, intensely with the Biden campaign back in '78 and worked for him for many years.
We had a lieutenant governor named S.B. Wu and his wife Kathy are on my staff. Appointed America's first ambassador-level special envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism. Deborah. Is Deborah here? Deborah Lipschitz. Thank you. And this summer, I announced the new head of the National Cancer Institute, Boston's own, Monica Bertalia. And I want to thank and recognize the guy that I can't believe all he's done.
Oh no!
Dr. John Kingasong.
Whew. He still said it wrong, but it could have been a lot worse.
And the Vice Chief of Space Operations, General Davis Thompson. General, stand up so I can see you. And Undersecretary of Defense, Sean Skeely.
For the record, the actual Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness was this guy, not this guy.
The Secretary of State and the Secretary of the the military behind me. That includes our Secretary of the Defense. Also,
I named the Secretary of Defense a black man. It's all about treating people with dignity.
Now, of all of Joe Biden's cabinet members, it was the FEMA administrator that got hit the worst.
I can't think of anyone better to lead this operation than Deanne Griswold of FEMA. FEMA Administrator Griswold, who's the best we ever had, I think. FEMA's Administrator Griswold and FEMA Administrator Deanne Griswold is here. Head of FEMA, Deanne Griswold, is on the ground now in North Carolina. Ambassador Griswold is on the scene tomorrow. And the FEMA Administrator, who's become the MVP here these days, I spent a lot of time in this room, Griswold of FEMA and the entire workforce.
So yeah, Joe Biden obviously doesn't know who works for him or the names of members of Congress, so he's definitely not going to know who local politicians are.
Under the leadership of mayors like, our mayor here, Police Chief Murray of the Baltimore, Police Chief Mayor G.T. Burnham, former member Charlene Parker. Where's Charlene? She's here. I know I saw her.
And I'm so glad to be with you today.
Thank you, Jennifer, for what you've done. Mayor Rick Bassin. Rick, when we talked on the phone, you look like you played in defensive tackle for, I don't know who, but it was somebody good. But at any rate.
And what about companies and places and, things like that? Well, you guessed it. He's going to f*** those up too.
We're expanding partnerships with community colleges, registered apprenticeship programs, and the AmeriCorps. We're also really proud to have launched the American Climate Corps, patterned after the Peace Corps and the AmeriCorps. And patterned after the Peace Corps and AmeriCorps, $40 billion invested by TMSC. Yesterday, Novartis, another drug maker, announced they're cutting their price of insulin as well. So today, I'm pleased to announce we're working with Congress to invest $40 billion in our Pacific Islands Infrastructure Initiative. We call it the PI anyways. It doesn't matter what we call it, but that's what it is. I was going to get back to acronyms, and I'm going to stand not doing that. You see this tie I have with the shamrock on it? This was given to me by one of these guys right here. Was a hell of a rugby player, and they beat the hell out of the Black and Tans. Oh, God. But the ticket seller, Seat Greek, the Quorum teaches that one of his highest signs is the creation of heavens and earth and the diversity of our languages and colors. And we see in business like Begin with Therapy, in companies like, I hope I pronounced it right, Ame Power?
Amapower.
Is it Ame? I believe that's right, yeah.
Amapower.
Ame Power, Florida Small Business Winner Award winner, or the Business Week winner. You won. Last year at the White House, when I restored national monuments at Bears Ears and the Grand Staircase Escalade in Utah. Last time I was in Florida was almost a month ago because of Hurricane Ian. The bridge between Kentucky and Ohio, the Brent Smith Bridge. We're rebuilding two other critical bridges, Sawtooth and Docks Bridge, both in North Jersey. In Ohio, and I visited these facilities, in Ohio, I call what I call a field of dreams, 20 miles outside of Columbia. And Boise, Ohio is going to help build new high-volume manufacturing fabs as well. We're focused on making sure you got the place to sleep, food to eat, helping you rebuild your lives in Rolling Stone. Town of Rolling Stone will be back, and we'll be with you every step of the way. And what did I say? I said Rolling Fork, Rolling Stone. I got my mind going here. And that's why we've signed a new economic agreement and with Micronesia and Palau. So I got in the plane and I flew to South Korea. They said, what the hell are you doing to South Korea? I'm proud to use my authority under the Antiquities Act to establish the And I want you to know it's a big deal. The Havana May, I'm having trouble. Thank you. I got it.
Now, you may remember back in October 2023 when Donald Trump was giving remarks in Derry, New Hampshire, and spoke of Prime Minister Viktor Orban of Hungary. And it became a fairly big story.
Viktor Orban, did anyone ever hear of him? He's probably like one of the strongest leaders anywhere in the world. And he's the leader of, right? He's the leader of Turkey.
Except he isn't. He's the leader of Hungary.
Viktor Orban is not the leader of Turkey. Now, it is possible that Hungary and Turkey are kind of the same to him because Hungary sounds like hungry and Turkey is like gobble gobble, like nom nom, I'm hungry for some turkey. Maybe he thinks they're the same, I don't know.
And left-wing X was salivating over the fact that Donald Trump finally made a Biden-tier mistake when referring to a world leader. In a further troubling sign of his cognitive decline, Donald Trump short-circuited during a New Hampshire rally and called Hungarian President Viktor Orban the leader of Turkey. This man is unwell, and it deserves far more attention. Trump's mental decline is on display again. This isn't good. He's unwell. And here, Joe Biden's campaign ironically posted, Trump praises Viktor Orban, calling him the leader of Turkey. He is the Prime Minister of Hungary. And yet, every Democrat politician and media pundit in the nation was oddly quiet when it came to Joe Biden making similar mistakes on the daily. For example,
We are back together here in Cambodia, and I want to thank the Prime Minister for Colombia's leadership in the ASEAN chair.
So despite the fact that he was physically in Cambodia, Joe Biden thanked the Prime Minister of Colombia for not only hosting the event, but for being the chair of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. And there's a big difference between the Trump and Biden incidents. When Trump made his mistake, he was riffing off the top of his head, and he quickly corrected himself.
But Viktor Orban, and he's the head of Hungary, and he runs it tough. Let me tell you, he runs it properly. He runs it strong.
So weird that Rachel Maddow wouldn't show that part. Of course, she didn't have the same concerns when it came to Joe Biden confusing Cambodia with Colombia or Egypt with Mexico. You know, like the time Biden spoke about getting humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip.
As you know, initially, the president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open up the gate to allow humanitarian material to get in. I talked to him. I convinced him to open the gate.
So A, El Sisi is the president of Egypt, but Joe Biden thinks he's the president of Mexico. And B, last time I checked, Mexico does not border the Gaza Strip. Mexico is on the opposite side of the planet. At least Turkey and Hungary are within a few hundred miles of each other. But next time the left huffs and puffs over Donald Trump saying the wrong name or making a verbal error, be sure to remind them that it's a rarity compared to President Biden.
We've got news that Rashid Sunak is now the Prime Minister. And I want to thank the sponsors. And I particularly want to thank Prime Minister Modi and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, and President von der Leyen and the European Commissions. I've spoken at length with President Moon of South Korea. So thank you all very much, and President Yoon, thank you for everything. Look, at the same time, President Netanyahu and I discussed again yesterday. And I also want to thank President Kishida for his outstanding, it's not hyperbole, his outstanding leadership of the G7 this year.
Distinguished guest, the Prime Minister of Japan.
President. I've spent more time with Xi Jinping than any world leader has. Vladimir and I shouldn't be so familiar. And now I want to hand it over to the President of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
81 million votes, guys. 81 million votes. Oh, you thought that was it? Well, you thought wrong, because this is a definitive time capsule. And it's really important because when President Trump screws up someone's name or whatever during his second term, the left is going to jump all over it. And this video is a reminder that when it comes to verbal f***ups, Joe Biden is the king and all-time champion.
And of course, we see another first in the nomination of Ketanji. Well, you saw her. I guess you saw Justice Brown Jackson.
And hearing these words, and I quote, "It took just one generation from segregation to the Supreme Court of the United States," end of quote. Those are the words of Ketanji Brown Jackson, our Supreme Court Justice.
At the time, Amy Barr was Chairman Barr of General Motors. These past few months have been hell for Brittany and for Charlie and her entire family. And reimagine the team around the big three: Steph, Draymond, and Kay. Well, you guys are so incredible. Anyway, I want to thank Commissioner Gary Batman and for being here as well. And at the risk of stating the obvious here, I also want to thank our special guest, Michelle, who ensured that. There you are. Well, stand up, man. Rosetta Roll, Alaska native. Rosetta Tanya Leone, born and raised in a working class Havana. It was President Kennedy who laid the groundwork for the freedom flights that brought Tiana to America. The one and only expressive soul, Gladys Knight. And I know the family well, George Family Justice Act and Policing Act. I know the family well. People like the legendary advocate, Mr. Vad. You know, I mean, this is, you go back and think of the people who passed away last month from cancer. Folks, the ADA advocate, Jim Dart. Miss Sarah Collins Randolph is also here today. Miss Collins Randolph, I'm honored to see you here again. All these years later, Miss Randolph. Leaders in civil rights like Karen Nagasaki, and the contribution of Joan Shigakawa. Thank you. I have trouble pronouncing it. You can call me Bidden.
1.5 months later.
And Joan Shingang, I'm going to pronounce it right, Shanga Kawawa. I think I pronounced it correctly.
And what about super famous people? You know, like hip-hop legend LL Cool J. I mean, not even Joe Biden could screw that one up, right? Right?
LLJ Cool J. By the way, that man's got biceps bigger than my thighs. I think he's been...
Joe Biden consistently preaches that everyone should be treated with dignity and respect. But at the same time, he referred to a 55-year-old black man as boy. But sure, Trump's the racist. And let's not forget, when Joe Biden insisted on singing happy birthday to a woman whose name Joe Biden either forgot or never knew in the first place.
When somebody's birthday, sing happy birthday. You ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Alvin. Happy birthday to you, dear Alvin.
And then, while in an event signing the Social Security Fairness Act, Joe Biden did it again.
This guy walked 1,600 miles from from Texas to Washington, D.C. to support this bill. Tomorrow is his birthday. We have a tradition in our household. Got to sing happy birthday. You ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. All right.
Poor kid walked 1,600 miles for that. Sad, really. And finally, the signs were all there from the beginning.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Look me over. If you like what you see, help out. If not, vote for the other side. Give me a look, though, okay? You know, we have to come together. That's why I'm running. I'm running as a proud Democrat for the Senate.
But then, after Biden was elected, he continued to forget that he was even the president.
I'm the most pro-union senator in the history of the United States of America. I make no damn apologies for it.
By the way, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman to serve with a black president.
Racial and gender identity is so fluid that Joe Biden's a black woman now. You go, girl. But even worse is the fact that Joe Biden would consistently refer to his vice president as the president.
I've served as vice president of the first black president and former CBC member. I am president alongside the first black president and former CBC member. I took it to instill public confidence in the vaccine. President-elect Harris took hers today for the same reason.
Now, when President Harris and I took a virtual tour of a vaccination center in Arizona.
Last week, President Harris and I stood in the United States Capitol.
And that's why I asked President Harris to travel to the region last August. Our nation's first black vice president, President Kamala Harris. I know well, celebrating Diwali about a few days ago, it was also Kamala's birthday. And happy birthday to a great president. President Harris is there to make sure we do this the right way. But all kidding aside, of course, President Harris is a proud Howard alum. I'm not being facetious. Well, President Harris led this effort.
President Harris.
What concerns do you have about Vice President Harris's ability to beat Donald Trump if she were at the top of the ticket?
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start there.
Anyway, that's it for now. Follow me on X at Don't Walk Run, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. As always, thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you next time. If there is next time.